Okay, so but the big dude, I'm excited for this shit, dude. But the big fucking moment of this card, the moment that I think the majority of people are excited for, at least me, is Ian Garry and Shavkat Rakhmonov. This shit's gonna be fucking wild. Oh my god, I'm so stoked for this shit. It's gonna be fucking Krispy Kreme, you know? As we originally were supposed to have it, it was supposed to be Bilal versus Shavkat. Now, I hate to say it, you know, because everybody says it. Bilal is kind of a boring, I hate saying this, but he's a boring belt holder. Because we know he's a great fighter. We know he's very technical. We know his IQ is there. But I just wish things went differently for Leon that night. You know? And we can blame the circumstances and say it was the fact that they didn't get to fight till 5 a.m. in the goddamn morning and he was tired as shit. And for sure that was a huge factor. And things probably would have went differently if that wasn't the time that they had to fight at. But regardless, Bilal still dominated him and put up a good fight, and he won the belt. He has the belt. You got to give him that respect. So when I heard that Shavkat was going to fight Bilal on this card for this belt, I was like, oh, fuck, thank fuck. Because I love Shavkat. All right? Shavkat is the fighter in the UFC that everyone is scared of and that everyone avoids. Even when Bilal announced that he couldn't do this fight, they were contacting multiple fighters, and they all declined. They all said no. They all shook him away because he's the boogeyman, dude. They know how fucking scary of a fighter he is. And for those not involved in UFC, don't even know who Shavkat is. They don't even know his name. Okay? But Ian Garry stepped up to the plate. Ian Garry was supposed to fight next week, the following week. All right? But they kiboshed that, and now he's coming on this card to fight Shavkat. Now, the other crazy aspect about this, not only is Ian Garry fighting Shavkat now, which is, by the way, way more exciting than Bilal, which I'll get into why in a second, but both Ian Garry and Shavkat Rakhmonov are undefeated. They both have an undefeated fight record. Okay? So to have two guys who are dominating in the same weight class, who are undefeated, both guys who, when faced with a challenge, have never been broken down, all right? They've never been stopped. They've never been defeated. They are now about to face each other, and one of them is going to come out on the other end with a loss on their record. It's fucking crazy, dude. Like, you don't get to see shit like this very often. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. Now, here's the thing about Ian Garry. For a little while there, especially while Sean Strickland had the belt and he was on top of the world, Sean Strickland was roasting the fuck out of Ian Garry. Just maniacally attacking him. Mostly about the fact that he thinks he's a cuck and his wife is like with him just for money or whatever. I don't know the full aspect of the drama behind it, but Sean Strickland put a dirty taste in everyone's mouth for Ian Garry. So Ian Garry was looked at as a cuck, essentially, and no one liked him. They disrespected him, and they didn't even take into consideration how he was as a fighter or the fact that he had a clean record. But then he fought Michael Venom Page a few months back. And the build up to that, we really got to see who Ian Garry was as a person. especially when he brought his little 2-year-old kid into the UFC offices, and his little child was impersonating other UFC fighters like spot on. It was brilliant. It made people start to like Ian Garry. And then, not only that, you got to hear Ian Garry talk, okay? He's got the thick Irish accent, and he can actually communicate properly. The shit he says is very inspiring, and it's extremely motivating. If you want to hear what he has to say about this fight, I highly recommend you go over to Ariel Helwani's channel and watch the interview that Ariel had with Ian Garry. Oh my God. It got me fucking hyped for this shit. So that's the other aspect of it. Because this fight, Ian versus Shavkat, is going to be, for sure, not only the fight of the night, but the fight that everyone is looking forward to more than anything. Okay? Now there's a bunch of focus on Ian and Shavkat. Okay? And Shavkat doesn't speak English. So all the attention is on Ian because he can speak English. So that's the person that people can communicate to. That's the person that people can listen to. And now we're starting to understand that Ian Garry is actually not only a legit fighter, but a legit fucking solid dude. So in any other aspect or any other situation where Shavkat was fighting, let's say anyone, Bilal or not, I would always put my money on Shavkat because he's a dominating force and he's fucking unbelievably good. Okay? We all know Shavkat's good. But in this situation, in this fight, I'm voting for Ian. I'm voting for Ian Garry. This is such a unique situation for Shavkat and Ian. Like, you need to understand how fucking crazy good this fight is going to be. Two undefeated guys. Two guys who have so much potential to have the title. Two guys who, at some point in their career, were going to either fight for the belt or get the belt at some point. Like, without a doubt. And now we finally reached that point where not only are they still undefeated, but now they finally get to face each other. And we're going to see who comes out on top. Like, oh my God, so much more exciting than Bilal versus Shavkat. Because if it was just Bilal versus Shavkat, okay, Shavkat's obviously going to win against Bilal. We for sure know what's going to happen, okay? There's not a doubt in my mind that Shavkat would not win against Bilal, okay? So then I'm just be like, okay, Shavkat got the belt against an easy fucking opponent that we all knew was going to happen. Not that exciting, okay? Mind you, if Bilal did beat Shavkat, that would be fucking just as crazy, but there's no fucking way. So now, instead of just jumping right to that moment of predictability, we now get to see Ian versus Shavkat. All right? So it's like, holy fuck. Who out of these two guys is going to have to fight Bilal next? That makes the anticipation way more exciting now. Because it's like, okay, Shavkat wins against Bilal. All right, now we know Ian Garry's going to come up and eventually have to fight for the title against Shavkat. All right, still exciting. But this is way more exciting. Because now they both are fucking hungry and bloodthirsty, all right? If Shavkat already got the belt, that would be a different aspect of it. But right now, they're both at each other's fucking necks, neck to neck, face to face, just being like, dude, I need that belt. No, I need that belt. They both want that belt. They both have their fucking 0-loss record on the fucking line, dude. All right? This should have been the fight to begin with. All right? But who cares what happened? This is it now. So this is, it's going to be crazy. All right? It's going to be crazy. But here's the thing. All right? They're both amazing fighters. Obviously, we know that. All right? But here's the aspect you got to think about. Shavkat, the Kazakhstani that he is, he's good at the ground. He gets you down, he's going to fuck you up down there. Now, Ian Garry can work on the ground, but he's better at his striking and on the feet. Okay? So Ian Garry is not going to want to get on the ground. So what's he going to do? He's going to have to fucking just tag Shavkat around and chase him around and just keep his distance. He's going to have to point score him the whole time. I mean, not necessarily what's going to happen, but that's the thing about these high-intensity fights with these fucking elite fighters who know what they're doing. It can be, and we gotta hope that it's not going to be this, but it can be a boring fight. Because when you have guys at this level, when you have guys who are so experienced and so good, they're almost too good. You know what I mean? Because if they're too good, then they're going to be able to defend everything that each other are throwing at one another. All right? Shavkat's going to go for a takedown. Ian Garry's going to know how to get away from it. Okay? He's going to run away. Ian Garry's going to throw a few hits or whatever through a few kicks. Shavkat knows how to avoid that. It's going to be a constant battle of avoidance. Even though they're trying to progress, that might happen as well. All right? Because we do not want another Bo Nickal situation. All right? You get so hyped. You get so hyped for these fights. And then stuff like that happens. And all right? And even though someone comes out on top, it's not the end result that you expected. So that is something you have to take into consideration in this situation. But I honestly don't think that's going to happen. There have been people in the UFC world who have speculated that, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think because they're so hungry and they're so determined and they're such elite fighters, I think they're going to put on an amazing show. Regardless, it's going to be fantastic to see whoever comes out on top, because for sure the next step is one of these guys getting the belt. And then they're going to fight again, all right? Because either way, both these guys are going to stay on top of the rankings. They're that good. So we're going to get to see them fight twice. So all around, this is just, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, yeah, like I said, any other time, I'm voting for Shavkat, no matter who it is. I don't give a fuck who he's fighting. I'm voting Shavkat. And if it wasn't for my respect that has gained for Ian Garry over the past few months, I would still vote for Shavkat right now. And there's a huge chance that he's still going to win because he's so fucking good. But I need to vote for Ian Garry. I'm voting for Ian Garry because I want that to happen. I will always vote for the fighter that I want to win more than the one that I think is actually going to win. Well, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes I do the one that I actually think is going to win. But in this situation, oh, dude, I want Ian Garry to win so bad. So bad. But either way, I'd be happy. Either way, I'd be satisfied. It's a win-win. It's like a win-win-win. Like, this card is so fucking good. And once we do the fight predictions, we'll go through all the fights because they're all so fucking good. This is a great way to end the year. It's just, it's mint, dude. Oh, it's so good. It's so fucking good.
Watch this full episode of the Dynamite Gizmo podcast by clicking the link in bio.